All right. Thank you, Kat, for being early. I appreciate that, despite our technical difficulties. And we're actually getting started here on the live channels. And so you were telling me about you kind of like certain features of Restream, and you use StreamYard. Is that what it is?
Yeah, yeah. I use StreamYard only because I got it onboarded with them when they were a startup, when they started first launched.
Oh,
And so I was able to get like their entry level plan, right? Their entry. But now that, I think my payment has probably caught up to what everybody else is. Now they're big guys, right?
oh yeah, they're huge. They're the ones to beat because they had the more complicated manual systems prior,
Yeah.
and then they ended up and it going have ended up creating a not Restream StreamYard, and
Yep.
then Restream came around the corner as well, and so that was super interesting because one of the things that Restream did is they did everything that StreamYard did and added some more features and stuff.
Got
Well,
you.
I know I'm not a super expert on those things, but that's what I found. And so I like Restream quite a bit, but
Yep.
there's a couple of things that I don't like because not everyone can use it.
Yeah.
You have some bandwidth issues for some people, some security issues for others, and things like that. Anyway, thank you for the banter. And what I'm really excited is about to know more about you. So we had maybe a few emails ago, we had one meeting to sit down and for a chat. And I was so impressed, right? And I'm hard to impress. I'm like a stickler, you know? I'm like, she's bringing it in, right? And I said, I want to know because I am very smart,
Yep.
but I don't know everything. And so I'm
Okay.
smart enough to understand that I don't know everything.
Right.
And so, so the purpose for bringing you on, there's multiple purposes, is to kind of have your light shine on everyone else,
Yep.
and be honest, have you help me as well, just through association. And so
Yeah.
on this screen, I have a little bit about you, but tell me about what makes Cat Cat.
Yeah, yeah. And first off, I have to say thank you for allowing me to be on your show, Troy. Because again, we met by the wonderful LinkedIn, right? We love wonderful LinkedIn, and
Mhm.
so we got connected there, and we got to meet. And then I think probably we were both impressed that we didn't shove our products down each other's throat in our first meetings. We just got to know each other. But my background is pretty much marketing, so. I am a veteran, so right out of getting out of serving in the Air Force, finished my education, got into
You have an
media.
Air Force vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in the Army. I don't know if I have an Army vibe or not.
Oh, good. See, we have more in common that we didn't know from before. That's awesome.
It's true. That's true.
Yeah. So right out of college, got into marketing, worked for a boutique agency, did that for about 5 years that was the big dealer groups, and with automotive, and then got into TV just haphazardly. They hired me. I had no experience. I loved it. It was great. So I've worked for ABC, NBC, CBS, Telemundo, and what have you, over 5 different markets. And then basically hit the glass ceiling. So got forced out, or not forced out, but I pushed myself out because I didn't want to be the same role for the rest of my life. So started.
Yeah, that's the blessing and the curse of being a solopreneur, entrepreneur. You wanna thrive to actually make a difference.
Yeah,
And we talk about that glass ceiling is that you see the point of having a glass ceiling is you hit it and
yep,
you see what's beyond it and what you can do beyond that. And a lot of
absolutely.
times it's not about money, although I think you make a lot of money. That's just my guess. But that's just my like feeling,
Yeah,
but I could be wrong. So
yeah,
everyone looks at me like, "Oh yeah, he makes a lot of money." I'm like, "No, I'm not. No, I don't." I tell them, "What are you talking about?"
right,
I
yeah.
said, I can tell. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about.
I love it, Troy. I
Yeah.
love it.
Yes.
But yeah, it's not about the money. It's more about, you know, fulfilling your needs and your desire, right? To
Mhm.
continue to challenge yourself. And if you stayed at the same job, the same role for, let's say that, at that role that I was in, which was 9 years ago. Can you believe that? 9 years ago. If I had stayed at that role for, let's say, another 30 years, I would be bored. Like,
Yeah, I think
why
there's an
would they want
awakening.
that? Why would
I
they want?
don't I don't think it's been everyone, but I think over the last several years, there's been an awakening
Yeah.
where there's a lot of more people that there's more to life than being this drone, you know?
Yeah.
And there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong. I'm telling you, there's nothing wrong in having a job. It's easier.
Yep.
I got friends that are sales guys and they're pulling in like $250,000 a year,
Yep.
and their wife is pulling in whatever it is, 150, whatever it is. They're doing really well. So
Right.
just
Yeah.
a word of warning, if you want to be an entrepreneur or solopreneur, don't do it for the money.
No.
Don't,
No.
because there were times when I had an IT company before,
Yeah.
and we're both LinkedIn marketing type of individuals, and we kind of overlap in certain areas. But my LinkedIn journey is, maybe five years, and I did it out of a necessity.
Yeah.
But during my IT times, I had some months where I was making $80,000 or $100,000 a month, and there's times when you're running negative.
Yep.
So you could be bust broke,
Yeah.
and living in a shelter,
Yeah.
and people won't. And then next year you have the ability to bring it back up
Yeah.
because you have economy issues coming up, and then whenever issues come up, there are actually opportunities. So every bad thing that happens, there's an opportunity for growth or to find to tighten up your niche and make that happen. Anyway,
Absolutely. I agree totally. What is it? Opportunities come from adversity. So anytime there's some adversity, there is an opportunity there somewhere. You just have to smell it out. You have to see it. You have to be very open to it. And that's exactly right.
yeah, they say what doesn't kill you make you stronger.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Hopefully this stuff doesn't kill me,
Yeah.
And if you are if you are a high performer, even if you get knocked down, you get your teeth knocked out, so to speak, or fall off the horse.
Yep.
I had to realize I had to start over a few times in my life. And I said, me at 40% capacity is 3 times as much as this other guy. So I didn't really feel as bad. And I'm not running at 100% capacity, but I'm making these little incremental changes to increase that performance. And I think that a lot of people don't understand that. They're thinking about the money and right now in their survival mode,
Exactly.
And so in sales, I'm sure you have a bunch of different strategies that kind of go along those lines that really allowed you to kind of be successful. So the 3 areas that I would like to touch on, and we can go in any direction, is, important sales processes and cycles. This is more foundational stuff. Lead generation, training, utilizing LinkedIn as a networking tool. And I would probably add to that conversation and the role marketing plays in business development. Marketing is a huge word. So what I'll do is I'll definitely just allow you to kind of take it away on talking about sales processes. And by the way, this information, I believe, is something we made up because you're so hard to get a hold of. So I said, yeah, put that down on there.
That works.
After I said, Lisa's my assistant. I said, Lisa, afterwards, she'll correct it, and then we'll just put the right one out tomorrow. Because what are you gonna do?
Yeah. It doesn't matter. I mean, Troy, everything that you hit on is stuff that I coach and train on. Anyways, everything is natural to me. So I like that you just took the ball and ran with it.
Yeah, you have to. You do it or you don't do it. It's almost says that. I don't feel like doing stuff. I feel like I don't care how I feel like.
Yeah.
You just have to get it done.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so let's address the first bullet point because that's a great bullet point. And it's talking about what is the sales process? What is your sales strategy? Basically, what is the ultimate goal of what you're trying to achieve? Because before you do any type of sales, whether if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a salesperson, whatever, there should be some goals in place, right? There should be some very solid and specific goals. And what does that mean for a person who's trying to create this strategy and trying to plan? Well, first and foremost, you need to know who your target is. And too many times, and I'm sure you've seen this too, Troy, too many times when we bring on a client and we ask, who is your target audience? Who are you trying to?
Oh yeah, I know what you just said. They say everyone.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
their mama.
absolutely. Yep. They
Like,
say
why would your mama
everyone.
want to buy this stuff?
Yes.
Think about it.
Yes, and it's never everybody, and I always take people through an exercise and say, "No, who feeds you? Who's your bread and butter now? Like who is the bulk of your clients right now?" And let's dissect them, and let's kind of create an avatar, let's create a persona, right, for them.
My partner is also named Katherine, but she
Okay.
has a Y in it, and her last name is Nunez, right?
Yep.
And so she does the same thing we do, and I partner with her because I'm terrible at the sales part.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't like sales. So I have these meet and greets, and my only point for these meet and greets is to see if there's a connection, if there's something I can assist on.
Yep.
And they ask me, I don't ever sell. And I said, oh, well, that's a sales conversation. That's a business conversation. And then that's qualified to move to my Katherine.
Yes.
and she closes the deals pretty easy because she's very concise.
Yep.
But one of the processes that you just mentioned was talking about understanding you're doing an audit almost.
Yes.
And so we suggest that before doing any systems.
Yep.
And she calls it a brand audit, but it's not so much of a brand audit. It's more of a business audit within the scope of the media legs that we have,
Yep.
So they need to understand not the fact that who are they only serving, but who do they want to serve?
Well, and that would be a second audience or a second avatar for sure. Because everybody, in what I found is everybody has an ideal client. Everybody has one, Nobody knows who's their bread and butter, who's their target audience, right? The person that's going to feed them, the person that's already buying. Like, people don't analyze that, and they should be analyzing that. Like, who currently is coming to you, because you can't abandon that audience. And when I talk to people and I coach them, I'm like, you could have 2 or 3 different audiences. And so you just need to know who they are so that you understand how to relate to them and talk to them, because you can't bundle all of them together. That would be crazy. You don't talk to like a woman-owned business here the same way you would talk to like a veteran-owned business. Okay.
Right.
So a veteran-owned business, I can use different dialogue, different tone, different graphics. With a woman-owned business, again, because women are touchy-feely. I love this.
I'm so glad I didn't say that.
They are touchy-feely. I love this. That's so cute, So women are very emotional in decisions, whereas, let's say
men are a little more analytical.
Yes, men are more of, I'm just going to make a decision and that's it. So there's so many variations in your audience, and it's good to, again, dissect them and put them into their own personas, right?
Yeah, personas are these buckets that you're talking about. I want to challenge you a little bit because people may think that, oh, well, I'll have all these different services to serve all these audiences, and it becomes too much. So that's what I call the flea market method. And I tend to stay away from the flea market because before I was a developer, I was a designer.
Yep.
I did Coca-Cola Enterprises before they did the merger. We did Harry Potter. We did Xbox mobile apps, and I was very good, at the time. This is quite a number of years ago. I was a manager, software architect, you name it, and I did all of them. But on my resume, like when I was trying to get a job, I looked like a clown because most people that are programmers. Most people that are UI UX people are on the designer side. And they don't really mix in like that. Yeah. And so people would not believe, and I look like a flea market regardless. So the truth is not so important. Well, the truth is important, but simplifying the truth so you're not serving all those markets. What is the balance? Because
Okay.
you're saying be flexible. You're saying have these other audiences and understand who are the different audiences, different personas for the different services or how you can contribute value to them.
Yep.
And I'm saying don't be a flea market.
Yep. Yep. So when you become very specific, you're not being a flea market. If you just say my audience is small business owners, that's a flea market. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So the other thing too, and to address what you're saying, Troy, is veterans do this really, really well because veterans have a background that has no relationship to business. So it's translation. What does leadership mean to a business world? Type that out. And that's your skill set, right? So it's not like you said, verbatim, and you're not lying. You're transferring what your skill set is into how it identifies with what your current role is.
Oh,
That's all you're doing, right? That's all you're doing. And so it's just a translation. And how are you translating it correctly so that it aligns with what you're doing to build your credibility?
So you have say, for example, you have a clear LinkedIn profile that says, I service audience in these 3 buckets. And although these are the 3 buckets, you get ancillary business, but you don't want to advertise everything. You want to advertise, you want to market clearly on the major parts. But say, for example, someone comes to me and say, Troy, I need your help with LinkedIn conversions for bookings and stuff.
Yep.
And I'm going to say I'm helping that individual and we create an awesome system and yada, yada. And we say, you know what, your website sucks.
Yep.
And they say, yeah, can you do that too? That is maybe an extra service that you can bring in that you can handle well, that may not be in the surface of those first 3 buckets, perhaps.
Well, and here's my theory on that, because I'm going to bring it back around for you, because I totally get what you're talking about. When you're using a profile, and if you're using it or whatever, your system, your process, whatever, again, you don't want to have a website that has all this crap on it, like you're saying, Troy, like I do all of this. You will lose people's attention. I'm a big proponent.
They get paralysis.
Yes.
Decision paralysis, right? Is that what it's called? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a big proponent of landing pages. Like if you have a specific program and you want to make sure that you're pushing that, let's say for the next quarter, that's your program, that's what you're pushing. And let's say that your program is cybersecurity. Okay. Let's say that you're an IT company, you do lots of things, cybersecurity is your focus, then your dialogue and your content and everything, landing page, everything has to be cybersecurity, because what you don't want is if you're trying to sell, whether you're cold calling, messaging, however you're trying to sell, if you're driving someone into the landing page, your website, whatever, if it doesn't have everything that you're saying, regurgitating to them, then you've lost them, because they're going to be like, I see knitting on your site. What do you mean you do cybersecurity? I see sailing. Where is the cybersecurity? They won't even say that. They won't come back.
Oh, they won't say
that. You lost them.
He likes kittens? What?
Right. Save the knitting and
what's the cat got to do with cybersecurity? You're like,
yeah. Save that for your Facebook page or your bio page,
Yeah, that's a good point. So speaking on that, that's the same method I use, say, for example, on my LinkedIn profile. So we use the banner to tell them.
Yep.
We use the video portion to tell them again.
Yep.
We use the soundbite to possibly tell them. I use a soundbite as what I call an Easter egg.
Nice.
So it's really gimmicky, and I do it on purpose.
Yeah.
It's my soundbite says, "Oh, you're the 5th person that saw this profile today. You win a free profile audit." And they book a time, and I'll do the audit. It's not like I'm going to
call you out on it. Yeah, good. Awesome.
Well, one out of every 20 people see the little Easter egg I put in. Remember the what is it called? The pronouns.
Yeah, the pronouns. Pronouns.
Yeah, you know what my pronoun is?
What?
It's 5'6". Identify as 6'5".
Did you put that?
I'm really 5'7.5", but it wouldn't have rolled together. So identify as a very big person in the LinkedIn market. That's
funny. I
So
love it.
women see that and then they're reading it. What is that? And then they start laughing. So I
That's
always think
funny.
that you want to throw a little humor into it so they know that you're human. But to your point, we tell them again, tell them again, tell them again, and then have that path. And so that concept of reinforcing the information, the content is really important on your endeavors. So let me ask you this, since you're bringing that up,
Yep.
what happens if you have uh, three, four, five endeavors at the same time? You have to carefully segment them, I imagine.
I mean,
So,
here's the thing. I wouldn't take on a client that has like that many. Like everybody has priorities, right? You put your
mhm,
priorities in place. I always say use your one product that will bring people in, right? One
mhm,
product. It's up to your team and it's up to the salespeople to upgrade, downgrade, whatever it is that they're going to do, right? In the
mhm,
discovery call. You can't. I mean, so let's use another great example. Another great example is, let's say that you have a business coach and the business coach is an author and he's a speaker and then he does one-on-one coaching. That's three things, right?
mhm, mhm,
Three things. It's busy work.
mhm.
So again, the coach has to figure out, what are my priorities? Well, I need coaching,
Yeah,
Kat.
where
I
does
got
the
to
money
pay the
come in?
bills.
Where does the money
Right.
come in? What makes me happy?
Yep.
What are the stuff I eventually don't want to do? Because
Right.
what they all
That's
say,
your
I
priority.
want to
Yeah.
stop the one-on-one at some point, but that's
Yes.
their bread and butter usually.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. So that's how I talk to my clients, because I'm like, you still have to pay the bills. What pays the bills? Because that's
right,
your
right.
priority, right? That's your priority. And then the second one will be the one that is their passion, right? That's what that they want to grow and do moving forward. And let's say it's speaking, then that's the second tier. So we'll focus on those two things. You know what I mean?
Hmm, hmm.
Because you still have to earn money. You still have to feed yourself.
Well, there are larger opportunities. For example, I have a pretty robust LinkedIn system where it's partially human. It makes sure it sends native videos. It has a day-to-day process for them to do. Um, but and it's really great, but
Mhm.
that's one thing, and it only brings in so much money
Right,
because
right,
not all customers are qualified. You know why?
right.
Because most people want to sell their shit. They want to sell their stuff, and they don't want to really help people, right?
No, you're
So
right.
I had to fire like 6 clients at once when I was tired from them not making the meetings,
Yep.
and I was tired of them not having. I'm trying to contribute and help. How? By selling your stuff? That's not what that means.
No.
Like,
And
there's a whole disconnect there.
I'm so
And
glad you're saying
and
this.
so yeah, so how do I help other people? And how do
Yeah.
or not even help? How do I genuinely provide value to other people? And part of that is partnerships, right?
Yep. Yep. Big
Because
time.
if they have an issue with something else that I know about, but it may not be my main thing, I may
Yep.
say, you know what, this is what's happening. Probably,
Yep.
if you do this, it may help. But if you really want to fix it, talk to my partner here. My
Yeah.
strategy partner here that does this and this and that. So I surround myself with ancillary businesses.
Yep.
And some of them are LinkedIn people too. Like
Yeah.
they may have a program I don't have. I said, oh, well, you want to build it? Yeah, okay. You want to just learn and learn, and you want a one-on-one coaching? Yeah, there's a $5,000 program that does that. I don't do that.
Yeah.
If you want it done, I'm done for you. All right, I will
Right.
do it for you and work with you. So, but that one thing may not make a lot of money
Yeah.
because it's finite. It's a
Yeah.
lot of work. It's like that one-on-one coaching. It's a
Yeah.
lot of freaking work, a lot of setup and stuff. And so I'm always out for the opportunities for larger things. So we build software, and now we're tying in that possibly software to these other programs that have all the whole audience.
Exactly.
So you're saying bread and butter, you
Mhm.
keep, but keep open for those
What you're
other
growing.
larger opportunities where you can actually make money. And I
Absolutely.
would imagine that solution is continue providing value, communicating well,
Mhm.
and what else?
And then if you're working together with partner, you got to make sure those relationships are great, right?
Mhm.
Because those are the ones that are helping you and supporting you in those systems. Um, I think the big thing for businesses when they have a sales process or a program in place is understand your sales cycle too. Because, like you said,
Mhm,
Troy, you hand off to someone else and then it goes on to someone else, right? There's a process in place.
mhm.
Everybody needs to know that process because here's another failed thing
So
for
I think that's what we're talking about right here. Lead generation training and just utilizing LinkedIn as a network tool. So you're talking about process, and that involves a lot of training. So
Mhm.
you're talking about training your teams, though, right? And
Not just the team, you're training also the client that you're
Mhm,
representing, right? Because, like you said, a lot of times clients don't understand how LinkedIn works, that you really have to really be gracious with the platform. You can't abuse it. You got to
mhm,
treat it as a partner. You got to
mhm,
treat it as a partner. And the big thing I always talk
mhm,
about with LinkedIn is it's a huge networking event. So there's
mhm,
millions of people in there that you can talk to ultimately. But if you
mhm,
start spamming people, that whole sales and spamming,
mhm,
then you're going to disrupt any of your algorithms. You're going to disrupt any credibility that you have
mhm,
because people are going to get a sense of that you're just in there to sell. And that's not the purpose of the LinkedIn program. The LinkedIn program is to identify those targets that are going to be good, either partners or clients or whatever it is that you're targeting, right? You're going to target those. And
mhm.
then it's like going to a networking event. When
Yeah,
you go to a
it's a true networking platform,
yeah,
not
because when
not a sales platform, a
no,
networking platform. Yeah.
yeah, when you go to a
Mhm.
networking event, are you walking up to people and saying, "Hey, buy this, buy this"?
Yeah.
No.
And
And
doing a little dance for them too? I mean,
you
that only
should
happens after you get drunk, right?
you shouldn't
Like,
do it.
yeah, that's
You
only
shouldn't
after
do
the
it on
3rd drink.
LinkedIn either.
You break out the robot skills? I can do a mean robot.
Oh my god.
The right arm's a little rusty, though. Yeah.
Right. I mean, so the whole point of it is to learn how to be gracious, right?
Yeah.
And to learn how to network. Because if you've never networked, and that's the other thing, I meet people who have never networked. Okay. So they become an entrepreneur since
Yeah,
COVID.
they're more inclusive. So
Yes.
they're what happens in their mind
Yes.
is it happens very quickly, and they
Yeah.
may be very good at it, but that communication kind of stops them in their tracks
Yeah.
because they're not used to interacting or with other people because it's a different process,
Peace.
different method, different amount of energy, different type of energy, and different
Yeah.
type of effort as well.
Yeah. I had an old sales trainer tell me a long time ago, don't prescribe before you diagnose
Mm,
because you'll kill someone.
hmm.
Right? If a
Hmm.
doctor prescribed to us, if we called them, "Hey, I'm bleeding out of my ears and eyes," and they said, "Oh, I'm gonna prescribe you this," let's say on
Like 5 Band-Aids.
well, no, I was thinking of a very lethal drug. Well, I
You bleed out to death. Like, that
like
didn't work.
like Oxycontin. Let me just give you a prescription of that and then take a bunch
Yeah,
and go to bed and then you're dead. But no,
yeah,
they wouldn't do that. They would say, "Let me diagnose you first. Go to the
yeah,
ER. Go to the ER," right? Same thing with
yeah.
clients.
You get someone else to check it out. I mean, it's kind of like emergency, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. So it's
The
just
same reason I turn off my phone after 8 because I don't want to emergency 2, 3 o'clock calls and stuff. I just have client when I don't have that happen now, but when I
yeah.
had the IT company, the
Oh,
gamification
yeah.
company, I had like guys call me 2 o'clock in the morning, 2, 3 in the morning, cussing me out. And I just realized I just had a bad day. I don't know.
Yeah.
Wife left him. I don't know what's going on. So what I do,
You needed to talk to someone at 2 in the morning.
oh yeah, I put the phone. I used to because I'm over 50 now, so I'm like I don't have much tolerance. But before I'd be like, yeah, let me get it done. I was like, get it done. But you know what? I charged him for the call though.
Yeah.
Oh, he's getting charged an hour for this 10-minute
Yeah.
call. I don't care. Let me put it on the sheet. He's gonna charge that 250 to whatever I was charging at the
Yeah.
time, and I was just like, yeah, this is what's happening on the project A, B, C, D, and I went down the list. Yeah. So is that why he called me? He's yelling at me. You should have called me. I said, yeah, you're right. All right, okay, thanks. And then I hung up.
Oh
He could
my
have been
God.
like in the middle of getting drunk. He's mad and he got,
Yeah.
accidentally dialed me and and he's about to get fired.
Oh my
I'm
God.
like, so I just, I mean, but make sure they pay for it. That's the, that's the thing.
They're calling
So
you at 2
charge what
a.m.
you're worth.
Oh yeah,
That's
big
the
time.
whole point, right?
Oh, big time, big time.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So when you talk about training, there's training your teams
Yep.
and there's training your client. And I
Yep.
didn't really think about that. And then how much training can a client take? Like
Well,
when you do a done for you service,
yep.
you got to keep it like third grade level. What can they do in a half hour per day? You know,
Well,
like you have to minimize. They can't do too much.
no, and so depend. Everybody has a different program, and everybody does different things.
That's
Here's
true.
the big part of training. The big part of training is managing expectations. If we're not managing expectations, right?
Mhm.
The person that hires you, so ideally the person watching right now is going to have an expectation probably up here.
Mhm.
And if you don't coach and train and have that conversation of what to expect and what you need to do as part of this
Mhm.
role, right?
Mhm.
Then their expectation will stay here and they'll be disappointed, right?
Mhm.
So we have learned as a company that not only are we training our employees ongoing, but they're also managing and coaching their clients. You manage up, right? Got to manage up. And
Mhm.
then we are coaching and managing our clients so that the expectation is realistic. It is totally
Mhm.
realistic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what is? Let me see here. Yeah, I think for my clients, communication is really key because a lot of, say, coaches, for example, they're super high level.
Yep.
They're not technical at all.
Nope.
So if you
Yeah.
give them, and this is not the case for everyone, but a lot of them, and it's nothing bad about that because they're hyper focused on what they're doing, right?
Yeah.
And so they're not going to be good at those other areas. Um, um, so I find that if you tell them more than like three things, they get totally flustered with you.
Oh no, absolutely. I mean, like with us, with our clients, we meet with them weekly so that there's over communication. We get to the point where they say, "Well, we don't need to meet weekly, just send me an update," things
Mhm.
like that. But in the beginning, we do meet with clients weekly just so that they understand and we're basically holding their hand, right? You're just
So
coaching.
what client type of client do you meet weekly? Every single client, or are there buckets of the value if the client's paying over $1,000 a month, that is a weekly meeting, or over 2,000, or are there things that, yeah, what are the tolerances that you
Yep.
doing? I know it's a very technical question. Sorry.
Oh no, it's okay. If we're expected to deliver some type of result, so
Hmm.
actionable result, right?
Hmm.
Engagement, inbox messages, anything like that. If we are our expectation or their expectation is that we're delivering some kind of result, then we're meeting weekly because
Hmm.
we're making sure that we're all on the same page
Hmm.
and either they saw the result or we're going over the results and talking about it for strategy, you know?
Mm, okay. All right. So the big question I have and is like, I have a pretty healthy network, but
Mhm.
yours is like bananas. It's like like 130,000 followers.
Mhm.
Could you give me some of those followers? Just kidding, but how did you amass those fairly quickly?
Yep.
Or okay, so tell me if there is. I asked everyone and they gave me some just general answer because they don't want to tell me. So
Why?
I don't know what it is. Like, oh yeah, I had this one post that went viral. It's like, come on now.
Yeah.
So,
No, I mean, I think like I've always been a fan of LinkedIn. I've been
mhm,
on LinkedIn since,
mhm,
I don't know, forever. And when I used it for work, I really just used it to connect to the people that I did business with, right? That's
mhm,
it. And as an entrepreneur, when I started my entrepreneurial role in 2014, I connected to do business with. I connected to
yeah,
people that I wanted to be in my circles, right? In my networking circles.
mhm. So
And then,
you actually networked prior, and you had a professional environment
yeah,
with the people that have some kind of status or business
yep,
association, and so you started off on the right foot
yeah.
versus someone that may not
Yeah.
be in that world.
Exactly, because I
Mhm,
think typically the normal person used it for finding a job, and so they only connected to their family and friends and then employers, right, and employees,
mhm.
that's it. Whereas, as a
So they had to make
salesperson.
a shift.
Yeah. Yep, and so I've always connected to business owners. I just
Mhm,
hyper connected once I was an entrepreneur, knowing I had to survive with something, and
mhm.
LinkedIn was the best use of networking with decision makers, right? Decision makers.
So let's talk about the different paths of success for LinkedIn. Um, and you mentioned before, a lot of it is spam, right? Like
Oh,
spammy.
yeah.
Like if I get a message saying, "Hey, I'd love to connect with you. We do A, B, and C, and D, and E," and they put all these bullet points in it, and they still do it to this day. They're like, it's a form of, I don't know, when having a learning disability almost. And that's, I wouldn't say retarded, and I said that's probably the wrong word. Don't say that
Yeah.
word.
Yeah,
But
don't say that
but
word.
but it sounds like they're like have no and maybe just from my perspective, and I know I'm kind of mean, but that's how I am. I'm just blunt. Um, but how do we curb that? I mean, can we just tell people it's like stop? This is like don't sell me in the first message because they don't listen.
You know what I do, Troy? You should do what I do, okay?
Probably, yeah.
Okay, because I love and hate those messages, but because it is my repertoire that I offer it, right? It's yours too.
Yeah.
I usually give them coaching back. I always reply and I say, hey, you know, I understand you want to sell your product or service. You don't even know who I am, and you don't even know if I have a need for your solution. And I
Uh-huh.
said, if you want to learn to do it the right way on LinkedIn, let's book a meeting.
So I agree and I don't agree, right? And I'm probably wrong. I can admit. I admit on my faults if I'm wrong or not. But uh, I know from who it's coming from if it's going to go fall on deaf ears.
You never know. Who cares? Who cares?
So how much time a day can you reply to those amount of messages? Let's see.
Well, I actually have a team member who does it. I don't do it, but
Oh, okay. So you already have it written now, and that's like,
yeah,
oh, it's a response. Boom. That
yeah,
is a good idea. Now that I have context on the application, because I used
yeah.
to do that all the time. I used to tell them da, 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 and exactly what you're saying, and never hear anything back. And then,
No,
okay, thanks.
copy and paste it. Yeah,
Good idea. Have
yeah,
your assistant do it.
yeah,
Like one of the
yeah,
response messages.
yeah.
So how many clients have you gotten out of that?
From
Or was that that you just
replying
went?
back to that,
Yeah.
probably none. I don't know. Maybe one. I don't know. But
Mm.
at the end of the day, it's getting them to think, because a lot of times what
Yeah, you're
happens
pushing a
is,
buffer. You're buffering it and letting
yeah,
them know what's
yeah, that
appropriate.
it's wrong. Is you got to use it with respect. But again, they're diagnosing, or sorry, they're prescribing before diagnosing.
Yeah. So I will tell you the three areas on LinkedIn where I see revenue, and I want to ask you because you probably have more, right?
Well, hold for that, because you got comments, and we gotta say hi to
Oh my
people.
goodness, I
You
do
gotta
have
say
comments
hi to
on it.
people. You can't just leave them hanging. They
Ah,
want you to
can
say,
you
"Hey."
see the chat? Can you
Yeah,
see the chat?
yes,
Oh, you can. Okay, great.
yes,
I don't know how we're streaming
yeah.
works.
Yeah, Kenneth was the
Okay.
first one.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
apologizes. It's okay, man. It's all right. It's a great meeting having you. It's all right for being a little late.
I don't know
And
what grasshole is. Is that like asshole?
no, it's not.
What?
We'll move on.
Okay.
It's very. Kenneth's a great guy, though. I had to
Okay,
talk to him. Yeah,
awesome.
so check him out.
Yeah.
He's, let's see here.
Oos.
Uh, Usama. All right.
Yeah.
Oh
He
yeah, Usama knows who you are.
I know, I can tell. He
Oh
checked me
yeah, she
out.
says you're a serial entrepreneur who loves to play golf, drink a glass of red wine. I knew that you drink red wine though. That was come on. Let's do something a little harder. I found it on the page,
Yes.
so that's good.
Yes.
That's good.
Yay.
We have another LinkedIn user that has a question, right?
Okay.
Is have you found that using AI with bots generate content that has been flooding LinkedIn and it has been more difficult to reach people? Oh, good question.
Well,
So Chat GPT, version 4
hmm
has recently come out, and a lot of the bots are using version 3 or version 4. What's your take on that? Is it noise? Is it helpful? Is it communication? I got my own opinions on the current version, but you are the guest, and you probably know better than I do.
no, I don't know better. I will tell you what I do know that LinkedIn likes. Okay. And so, when in regards to content, the more original your content, meaning true to your heart, your story. A,
Hmm.
a chat and
Well,
AI
another
can't.
word for your story is
You.
how do you provide your brand, your
Well, not even
authentic
that,
brand?
your story, like, if
Mhm.
you failed, if you succeed, if you
Okay.
helped a client, anything. The algorithm for LinkedIn is all about personal stories. It's about, it really does pump up the juices when someone is talking about original stories. Okay. So AI can't generate that ever, never.
No, AI generates, they regurgitate the
Yep.
conversation.
Yep.
And that's what they do. And it's pretty frustrating because and that's why I didn't want to weigh in first. So I saw some of those tools, and some
Yep.
of the tools for like LinkedIn type AI for like an external thing to reply back to.
Yep.
So they have external tools that you maybe your assistant can jump on for checking stats and you name it, right? And so some of them have a chat GPT connected to it, and it's great to maybe if you want an intelligent outline to make changes to it. But what they all do, and then you also have to say in the reference of a certain, a certain type of person. And in order to understand who you are, it has to have a library of information. And so it's hard right now. The tools aren't as good because they're not set up to know who you are and how
Yep.
to respond like you. And the other thing that we mentioned, it just repurposes the content. And so it's just that, oh, it's like repeating the same thing that you said on the content on the reply.
Yep.
And it's just like 101, this is a bot to
Yep.
me.
Yep.
So I see it, but people, and some of the answers are pretty intelligent, but they're not useful. Not yet, anyway.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I met with someone the other night. I went to a networking event. I was an accountant, and she said that her and her husband did a business plan on Chat GPT, and she said she was impressed. She was like,
Hmm.
she goes, "I think it's dangerous, Kat. I think,
But
I
it's
think
good
it's
for organization and within a certain guidelines of what you're doing. Yeah,
right.
it's very good because you're not gonna if you're creating a book about something and you want chapters to be done, like, oh, it's formulating the chapters pretty well, but it's
Yeah,
not gonna take the place of Cat or Troy.
no,
Yeah.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
think people are smart enough. No, let's not say everyone's smart enough to pick up on that because a lot of people are not. I'm not saying people are dumb, but just they're not used to communicating on that path, so they don't recognize it. But you know who does recognize that?
who?
The buyers.
Yeah.
The
Oh
freaking
no,
buyers. The buyers, the people that are going to be your clients, they're smart enough because they've been in the game long enough to recognize if that's an authentic person or not.
right. Well, and here's the thing. I want to give Kenneth also this other perspective because that was a great question that he asked, or that was the LinkedIn user. Sorry, the LinkedIn user. So another perspective is, and I sat on a workshop from a social media person who used Chat GPT to create content. So basically, I was really offended by what she did. So, and people need to know this because she was just a stay-at-home mom who does social media on the side, and she had like 50 people, 50 other stay-at-home moms on this workshop. And then basically what she did was she popped up her Chat GPT. She put in, I generate content for 1 week for a business coach who specializes in blah blah blah. So then it generated the content, right? Never did she say verify and validate the content. Never did
Is
she
that a
say
human thing?
source it. Huh?
Yeah. That's a human thing, right?
Right. You have to, when you do Chat GPT, you have to say specifically source and verify, 5 pieces of content for a business coach, blah, 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 blah. Right. Because you want to make sure it's sourced and it's verified. You can't, there's a lot of crap in the World Wide
I'm
Web.
so sorry. What does source mean?
Like
I know what
it
verify
came.
means, but
Yep. Source means if they got the content from Forbes, from HubSpot, from where did the content come from? Because it came from somewhere. You got to source it.
yeah, yeah,
You know, you can't
yeah.
just take content and say,
Because it could be
this is for
wrong,
real.
or it could be something that worked like 10 years ago.
Yes,
It
that's what
doesn't
I
work
mean.
now
Yes.
because methods on LinkedIn, some things that worked a year ago don't work now.
Right.
Although the core is always the same. The
Yeah.
core is provide value, be authentic, network properly,
Yep.
things of that nature. But they have certain features and stuff like that that just change depending on trends and stuff.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you were offended
Yeah,
by her.
because she dropped all of it in Canva. So she didn't took all of the content, dropped it in Canva, created her social post, and then it went live. She scheduled it. No sourcing, no changing the content. No, she taught 50 women how to do this.
Wow, that's dangerous. So you have a lot of uneducated, just I don't know. It's almost copy and paste. It's just like doing research and just regurgitating the research without context.
Yeah,
Without
you have a good response from is it Mara? Do you see the
Mara.
comment?
Yeah. Chat GPT is a tool and it generates content based on what has been inputted. It does not eliminate human input and allows us to abdicate our responsibilities to think critically. Yeah, critical thinking, and check the content for validity to make sure it's valid. Talk good. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's absolutely true.
Yes. Yeah. And this is a great topic for us because, Troy, as you know, our primary delivery is social media content. So is Chat GPT going to replace us? Not entirely. It is a tool. It's an assistant. But people still need to make and feel like them, right? Everybody has a different tone. Everyone says everything differently. So like when we do
My partner, the other Catherine says, when you write in Troyisms.
Right, but everybody writes in their voice,
What?
But that's everybody, Troy. That's not
Yeah.
just you. That's everybody.
Yeah,
And a great example is like when we're doing content for a man, let's say a business coach, we never say, I love this, or I would love for you to respond, or, men don't say love.
Yeah,
No.
yeah, it's true. And hey and hi, those things are important too.
Yes.
You wouldn't say hey, and this guy's like a CEO of a 10,000 person company. Hey, buddy.
Right. Tone is important.
Yeah. So, Lisa, if you have a chance, what I want you to do is drop Kat's LinkedIn profile on there so people can follow her, and then afterwards on another one put mine. But I want to know more about your particular buckets right now. Okay,
Yep.
I know some are similar to what I do, but I would love to hear what you're doing and what you're shining, because one thing that really got my attention is your $99 plan.
Yeah.
I was like, that's freaking insane.
No,
I would never do that, but you're doing it very well. So I would love to know about those successes and kind of go from there.
Well, and so let me preference this in that I'm so confident and I adore Troy that I personally don't get people as competitors. Like there's enough business out there for everyone.
There's 1 billion people
there's enough
on LinkedIn.
36 million small businesses in the US. 36 million. Do you have all of them, Troy? No.
I do not.
I don't either. So, and I'm okay. Yeah. And if I get a small piece of that pie, I'm okay too,
Yeah, I mean, people say, oh, there might not be enough pieces of the pie. I say, make more pies. What's the problem?
Yeah. So the Social Buzz is the $99. It's hashtag Social Buzz. We started that right just prior to the pandemic, and it was great.
$99 a week, a month?
Nope, 99 a month. Not 99 a month,
So
3
what do
posts
they
a week.
get for that?
3 posts a week. They get a dedicated social media manager. They get a strategic content calendar created that they approve. Then they get posts delivered every week that they approve. These are
Mhm.
tailored posts created by humans, not by bots.
You know how long it takes so what kind of posts? What's a post?
Depends on the content
I know
calendar.
what a post is. I'm not saying I don't know what a
Yeah,
post is
yeah,
because
yeah.
I have similar plans, but what I'm trying to say is like in my mind, I do a lot of things that wouldn't be covered on the 99. Like for example, I do a lot of video stuff,
Yep, yep,
and or PDFs or slides and things like that. So
yep.
what's because some things are a lot more work than others.
Yep, and that's correct. So the 99 is basic, general post. So 3 posts a week. If somebody wanted to
Is it
do
an image with text
Yep,
or
image, they everything that we do, everybody is Canva trained. So if they
Canva's
wanted
a good tool?
if they wanted branded
Mhm,
content, we can do
mhm,
branded. If they wanted to be organic, meaning just the picture, the way it is, or the video, then we can do organic. It's up to
mhm,
them, it's up to the client. We also recommend, we tell them what we recommend,
mhm.
but it very much is they have a dedicated social media manager working with them, and I pay them and I train them and I give them all the tools.
Wow.
So
Canva, by the way, let's talk about tools here. So
yep,
Canva
yep.
is a great tool that I use as well.
Hmm.
But I had to train my people on it,
Yep,
and because my taste is different,
yep.
and coming from a design background, I said, okay, what the hell is this? Like, this is my first when I'm training. I'm like, well, do you think this is nice looking? It's just, and they don't know. They don't have the years and years of
Right.
experience. And I said, okay, let me. So I have to spend 3 hours and I'll write a document and I'll do screen captures. And I said,
Yep,
these are the type of templates you want to use in general. And
yep,
these are the formats that will be better. And so Canva has great templates to start from. So there's
yep,
nothing wrong with that because back in the day, creating a 9-slide presentation and getting it approved through a client would take a long time. We would
hmm
charge thousands and thousands of dollars. I can get a 7-slide, 8-slide out within 30 minutes now.
Oh yeah,
It's
yeah,
insane.
oh
Of
yeah,
course, I'm my own client, so doesn't
yeah,
require maybe doesn't require the back and forth. So
yeah.
Canva's a good tool.
Yep.
What do you use for easy editing for video?
So we use Canva there, and then we also use NVideo.
NVideo? Have
Hmm.
you NVideo?
Yep.
And have you heard of Veed?
Nope.
Veed, VEED.io. Check
Okay.
them out. We use that all the time. And one of my favorites as an add-on, that believe it or not, is Instagram. You know why? Because Instagram has a ton of great music,
Yep.
and Instagram has the ability to do those cool little captions,
Yep.
and they have cool little filters. And I like the little filters that have a little bit of grain in
Oh
it, but
no,
not too
absolutely.
much. And
Yep.
so I'll use Veed and I'll run and I can chop it up on there or whatever.
Yep.
And you can have the ability to do a video like we're doing now
Yep.
and record another tab at the same time.
Oh
And so you
nice.
could be
Okay.
sliding on the tab and recording it at the same. And then and then I move it to the vertical mode, which is the Instagram reel mode.
Yep.
And I just move the videos on top of each other and do something really cool.
Oh, nice. I'll check it out. I'll check it
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of times clients will send us their videos, we clip them, and then we frame them in a Canva if they need us to frame it. And
Do you
things like that.
clip them in Canva? I don't use that Canva to that extent. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
So, yep. So it's just a matter of depending on how long or how big these files are for the clients.
Awesome, awesome. Well,
Yeah.
we're running on top of the hour, and I know we didn't get through everything. So, what I recommend is people reach out to Kat or me if you want to talk to me. But Kat is much better looking than I am, and she seems on it. The woman brain we talked about is much different than the male brain. We were saying that in general, women, and I had this conversation with my partner, and she laughed, but it's true. Like women can have 1,000 boxes open,
Yep.
and it's a chaos.
Yeah.
and men will have one box and we'll examine it in detail, then put the lid back on. And so I think women and men actually work good together because of the yin and yang,
Mm-hmm.
of left brain, right brain versus very detailed processes and milling that in.
Yeah.
And I also know, Lisa, if you can provide Kat's, was it a booking link for your CTA?
Yeah. Yeah. There is a booking link, the Calendly / adBidtise.
Awesome. And then after you send that, send mine. And we do appreciate everything. I'm sorry I talk so much. I just
Oh, no, you're fine. I think the thing I wanna to probably close with or let people understand that, because we do social media marketing and then we do lead generation. And, what Troy and I do is very similar. We're 2 different companies, but it's very similar. And the thing I think I want to really, really say and everybody to really take away with is, branding and marketing is completely different than lead generation. Every
Mhm.
company, every business should be doing lead generation. Every company, every business, from day one to the day you go and close the doors.
Every day, all the time.
Yep. And I think that's what Troy and I provide is that we help businesses go and find clients and we help them. If you're afraid to do it yourself, if you don't want to hear the no, if you are intimidated by the product, LinkedIn, because it's massive and it's huge, then that's when you hire someone to do it for you. Because at the end of the day, you have to do it every single day. Every single day. You cannot skip a beat. And the day that you take your foot off the pedal, and I know this because I was a sales director for over 27 years. The day
Mhm.
you stop prospecting is the day you're going to see your sales slump. And then you can identify it. 3 months down the road, 4 months, 6 months, you can look back and you can say, oh, yeah, I took a break. I thought I was ahead of the game. Nah, you can't do that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Thank you, Catherine. I think you are absolutely right. And I will end in never stop learning.
Hmm.
I love to meet new people and figure out new ways of doing so. I learned some stuff today,
Yeah,
so I appreciate it. I'm very humbled with it. And I joke around a lot, but I'm very serious about business and building relationships. Um,
absolutely.
so thank you everyone for joining. I'll go ahead and drop off. Have an awesome rest of the week. And then hopefully I'll see you on the next Troy show.
Bye.